What's up, everybody? How are you? It's good to see you. It's good to be seen by you. Welcome to the show. I, of course, am the one and only Bill Sylvie, aka the Dungeon Delver, coming to you live, loud and clear, a little later on a Thursday evening. How the heck are you? Greetings to you, Robert Phillips, St. Cuthbert, Odd Scimitar, Ptolemachus, Rabbit Wrangler, David Mills, Ironcaster, Diecast Ironcaster. Welp, you're not waiting anymore. Welcome to the show, everybody. Let me ask you a favor. If you haven't already done this, maybe you haven't gotten around to it yet. If you would please click the subscribe button and click the bell icon for notifications. It would be super duper helpful. Greetings to you, John Collins. Hello. Because as always, there's YouTube shenanigans afoot, as always. So if you haven't clicked the subscribe button, please do click the subscribe button. I would love it if you would do that. It would be so helpful. And plus, I would just appreciate it. And remember, likes are free. You can give this video a thumbs up right now, or if you're watching it in the future, you can give it a thumbs up. And if you're watching it in the future, you can leave a comment down below, and that would be super cool as well. So, welcome to the little thing that I do. I like to do this 5 nights a week. And I got to admit, we did start a little bit late tonight. I know I'm usually in here at, 9 o'clock, but I just I was being pulled in so many different directions. It was like, I need a shower. I need to do the dishes. I need to do this. I need to do that. I'm just not going to have enough time. So we pushed it back a little bit, but that's okay. That's okay. We can still have fun. Good evening, Jorge. Good to see you, my friend. Of course, we have merch. If you're interested in merch, we have merch, beautiful merch designed by Tracy Lesh. The link is in the comments down below. You can check that out. I got lost in one of the Manor's 200 rooms. Possibly. But regardless of that, here I am. But yeah, you can check out our merch if you're interested in the last word in first edition character generation and management software. Hey, Paladin Steve, thank you very much for the super. I really appreciate that, my friend. You can pick up a copy of Crom for $25 US dues. Just reach out to me on social media and I will hook you up with, frankly, the best character management program you could ever want. Ever. Create characters, add XP, add whole levels, sell gems and jewelry, buy equipment, change alignment, age the character, dual class, any class race combinations that are legal for first edition are in the book. Check for psionics. You can check for psionics. But that is really just scratching the surface. Crom is your program. Saves in HTML, saves in text. It's pretty darn cool. And I'm always tweaking it. I'm always looking at ways to make it better. So if you purchase Crom, you don't just have Crom and then you're like, oh, well, here there's a new version that does this. You always get updates of Crom. So that is a thing you can purchase to support the show. The last thing that I'm going to mention, you do not have to be a paying patron member to do a super chat. All you got to do is click that dollar icon in the chat window and set your amount and type your message. That's all you have to do. You have to have some kind of payment system associated with Google. But other people who do super chats can help you out with that. But hello, Dying Breed. Good to see you. Rob Turner, how are you? Now, I said I'm going to mention this literally every night until October 31st, and I'm going to do that. So, we are doing a holiday giveaway. We are giving away 4 items on the night of December 25th. Mrs. the Dungeon Delver will be sitting here with me. We will spin a wheel, and 4 lucky recipients will receive a TTRPG product, a physical TTRPG product, a gameable TTRPG product. It is not 3D printed miniatures. It is not going to be anything like that. It's not going to be it's not going to be stuff like that. Hey, American Brad Canada, all my base are belong to you. Thank you for the super. I'll tell you guys some other time. I was friends with Jimbo Ray Robinson, the guy who came up with all your base. Online friends. Online friends. Let me just state that. But anyway, so anyhow, I will tell you on October 1st, which is rapidly approaching, that's only 20 days away now, I will let you know what the drawing is for. You guys it will be revealed. When you see it, you're going to want to be part of that drawing. So here's how you get entered into the drawing. Before, but no later than October 31st, you must become a paid patron or a paid channel member and stay paid through the end of December. You can do that for as little as $1 on Patreon or $1.99 if you want to be a channel member. That's who it's open to. Don't think, well, I can become a free member on Patreon and nope. It is for paid patrons and paid members, but you can come in at any price amount. $10 does not increase the size of your name on the spinning wheel. When you see what I'm going to show you guys on October 1st, you're going to be like, I need to do this. I need to do this. If you want to do it now, that's fine. If you want to wait till October 1st, that's fine. If you want to wait till October 31st, that's fine. But if you're going to be cute and say, oh, I'll wait till November 1st, you're going to be out of luck. I will appreciate, I will love anyone who becomes a paid member or a patron after October 31st. But contest member or contest players are those who join before the end of October. So keep that in mind, boys and girls. Keep that in mind. Ask yourself, can I send $2 to $4 to the Dungeon Delver at a minimum, amortized out over 2 months, if you really want to wait till the 31st to get entered in a literal once in a lifetime drawing? So, that is that is your choice. All right. So let's talk tonight. Let's talk tonight about modules, about adventures. So once upon a time, when TSR published original D&D, one of the admonitions given by Gary in the rules was, we could go on and on telling you stuff, but honestly, why would you want us to do your thinking for you? Now, Gary was no fool. He understood that perhaps the concept of a dungeon map, that might be a little bit beyond your guy who played at Stratego, Rise and Decline of the Third Reich, Kampfgruppe, North versus South, Antietam, even stuff like, Hittites versus Sumerians. Even those who were enthused and infused with the fantasy section of chainmail, they might have been confused by that. So original D&D has the first ever published dungeon adventure in it, but it's not much of an adventure. It is a map with a sample of play. The map level is not fully fleshed out. Only a few areas in the sample of play are discussed. No, it would not be until Supplement 2 Blackmore that we would see a pre-programmed scenario. And that, of course, was Temple of the Frog, the first TSR's first ever pack-in dungeon and TSR's first ever published dungeon adventure. But still, if you were a referee, a game master, a judge, if you will, you might be wanting more. You might be wanting something with a little bit more oomph to it. And so it was that a games company started creating and publishing their own D&D supplementary stuff, this company being Judges Guild. Now, initially, Judges Guild put out things like the Ready Ref sheets, full of charts and tables and potential wandering encounters. Yeah, exactly, Iron Man, exactly. Like the sample dungeon in the Dungeon Master's Guide, there's 3 areas. If you want to use it, that's fine. But you have another, 40 or 50 areas that you have to flesh out from that point forward. And that's not even to consider the lower level. But I think all of us have done that. So Judges Guild, kind of walking a fine line between IP infringement and fan support, began to release the Judges Guild journals. Now, some people have said that Gary just lifted stuff whole cloth from Judges Guild to write the Dungeon Master's Guide, to which I say nonsense. Gary was enamored with tables and charts for random stuff well beyond what Mr. Bledsaw and his company were doing, and well prior to it as well. If anything, I might point at Judges Guild and say, hey, you guys lifted a lot of stuff from OD&D and put it right in your own supplements. I think that's a fair assessment, and Ready Ref Sheets has some good info, but a lot of it is a little over the top in complication. Yeah. And it doesn't help that it, like, there's a critical, I can't remember what page it's on. I don't have a copy of Ready Ref Sheets anymore, unfortunately. But I remember there's like a couple of tables that would be really handy to have, and they're crammed all the way in the right-hand corner of the back page of the Ready Ref Sheets book in like 6-point pica. It's just it's a pain in the butt. So with that said, Judges Guild got ahead of the curve, and they started publishing these pre-programmed scenarios. Now, the fact was, the prevailing attitude at TSR at that time was that people who want pre-written adventures, just they don't know how to use their imagination. But then TSR saw that Judges Guild stuff was selling like hotcakes, and people would approach TSR's booth at Gen Con and other conventions and say, hey, in Ready Ref Sheets it says this, or is this monster legal? They were leaving money on the table. So when AD&D rolled around, TSR kicked it into overdrive. Gary took 6 weeks, I can't remember, 6 weeks or 6 months off from the development of the Dungeon Master's Guide to write the G&D modules and Tomb of Horrors, and possibly Keep on the Borderlands and Village of Hamlet. But he threw himself into module creation. And the rest, as they say, is history. Now, one thing that I do want to mention, and we're going to get into this a little bit when we start looking at Tegel Manor. And I realize that this may cause some people to bridle. I'm not just saying things to be controversial. But most modules published by other companies, We Warriors, Palace of the Vampire Queen, for example, they were pretty thin on the ground when it came to any kind of a scenario beyond there's a place, it's full of monsters, go in. Maybe you come out. I don't know. Part of what makes Keep on the Borderlands, In Search of the Unknown, Tomb of Horrors, White Plume Mountain, Against the Giants, the list goes on and on. Part of what made those TSR modules so great were the storytelling. Even as lean as those early modules were, those early module creators, whether it was Gary, whether it was Law Schick, whether it was Alan Hammock, Harold Johnson, those early modules were flavorful. They were flavorful. So things like Palace of the Vampire Queen, which is arguably the first third-party published module, it's literally just you pick it up, you open it, and it just starts with stats for each creature in each room. That's it. Anything you as a game master want to fill in, you're going to have to. I am continuing with the story. But anyway, so so that is kind of the big difference. Gary had little stories to tell, as did Loshik, as did Alan Hammock, as did Dave Cook and Harold Johnson and Jeff Leeson, and on and on. Now, when Tegel Manor came out, first of all, Tegel Manor was very well received. And we know it's well received because it keeps seeing publication to this day. There are versions of Tegel Manor out there I've seen for so many different systems. But the good lads at Judges Guild put together a scenario. Let's talk about that scenario. Let's get into it. So basically what it is Tegel Manor is a he's trying to sell the ancestral home, Tegel Manor. I say he, Sir Runic the Rump. The manor itself is inhabited by 100 dead ancestors who've all become various forms of terrible undead creatures or monsters or what have you. And Sir Runic the Rump, he just wants to unload the place. So that's where the players come in, going in and shutting down the 99 ghosts. Sorry, 100 ghosts. And that is literally what we get. Now, Ironcaster's been reading ahead, the Konami connection. Yes. Which we'll talk about a little bit later. I don't know if we'll get to it tonight, but we'll do our level best. So the module came out in 77. By 81, it had sold like 30,000 units, 20 or 30,000. And that is kind of where we go, and we'll jump straight into it now, and I'll show you guys. First, before we get into that, I want to show you guys. Where is it? Here it is. I have the standalone Tegel Manor. Let's do a quick zoom in. This is Judges Guild, and it has a sticker on it. Official Judges Guild fantasy game aid created and approved for use with Dungeons and Dragons. And, you know, it's got the Dungeons and Dragons logo. We have a scenario booklet and a map folder that comes with it. I'm not going to pull everything out of it. I will show a little bit of stuff. Here's a characters checklist. If you want to have everyone's characters listed. St. Cuthbert's holding the same thing. Very nice. Are you holding yours while I'm holding mine? Is that what you're saying? But here's the frontispiece with a small map illustration on it. And then, of course, I have the actual map booklet back here. Where is it? The map of the manor and the surrounding area. Gone all after dark after. And of course, we have the dungeon map. This quite excellent and insane dungeon map here. which is a glorious funhouse dungeon. The whole thing is kind of a funhouse dungeon. Now, to get into the teeth of the module itself, we have this booklet. Now, if you're looking for cool illustrations, they begin here and they end here. And by begin and end, I mean that's it. There's no hidden gems in here. According to the module, it's art by Kevin Simbada, but there's damn little art here. There's this and this, and I think there's I think there's a yes, there's a rat inside. I'll leave it to you to make your own jokes about Kevin Simbada's sole artistic contribution inside the module being a rat. So from this point forward, other than the Rump family tree and a few notes for Tegel Village, the village that the place overlooks, the party can retreat back to, presumably, periodically, to refit, get hirelings, get henchmen. There's damn little in this module. I'm going to put my original copy away. You guys have seen that I have one now. I always like to show, I actually have like 4 copies, not the orange one, but I have some print-on-demand copies as well that came with someone's RPG haul that they kind of dumped on me. But it is basically fairly Spartan. So let's jump into it. I don't know, guys. I don't know. Y'all don't really want to get into this, do you? Do you? You want to just shoot the shit about old computer games or something? Let's not worry about Tegel Manor. You know what it is. I know what it is. I'm just screwing with y'all. Of course we do. All right. So here we go. Here we go. Tegel Manor. Background, and encounters. Tegel Manor, a great manor fortress on the seacoast, is rumored to be left over from ancient days when a charm was placed over it, protecting it from most of the ravages of time and human occupation. The hereditary owners, whose family name is Rump, have been amiss in their traditional duty of providing protection for the market village to the west. Some have said that this failing and their bizarre eccentricities have led to their corruption. Many have found the manor and area to be a dangerous place to visit. This charm includes fire resistance for the manor's timbers. So your party's not going to get away with, we'll just start casting fireball. All outdoors movement outside a village is subject to an encounter roll every other turn. Daytime. So you roll a d8 here. Roughneck Rump the Rotund, feared highwayman. And his band of 12 goblins have waylaid many a traveler, greeting same with a shrill stand and deliver. Apparently he's adamant. Special zombies, known as a Cauldron-born, are 24 hits to kill, 3 hit dice, armor class 4, move 9 inches. They're enchanted by the C.E. Sarthagus, evil high priest. These zombies have one defect, as they lose 1 hit to kill for every hex distant from their creator. Acolytes of Sarthagus travel the countryside, forcefully gaining new converts to the worship of Sarthagus, the frog god. These men dye their skin green and perform certain facial alterations for the favor of their harsh master. Pirates from the coast occasionally foray inland to attack the village and travelers. Alignment chaotic evil, 60-foot light foot, 30% crossbow, 10% heavy crossbow. Sturges, goblins, Baladar, lawful good ranger. Now you'll note that the alignments here are given in the 9 alignment or possibly 5 alignment system. And the 1977 D&D, if they got their hands on a monster manual, they would have seen the differing alignments in there. Plus, remember, the expanded alignment system had already been discussed in the strategic review at this point. I don't remember the issue off the top of my head, but it indeed already had. And then we have the night encounters, again, a D8, Ruang the Ripper, an assassin, 9 hit dice, armor class 7, 39 hit points, giant bats, Dearth Monster of Durfingle Marsh, a black dragon, giant stag beetles, skeletons, ghouls, and a druid. Roll normal wilderness encounter table. And that's for the daytime too. I loved the first Torchlight game back in the day, Damien. It was quite good. I loved the fact that it came with a simulation of Telengard. The Telengard that came with Torchlight back in the day. It ran under Windows 32 or 64-bit. I don't know if it'll still run these days, but I do know it ran on a Windows 7 machine. And it looked like Telengard on the Commodore 64. They copied all the C64 sprites and sounds and colors and everything. I loved it. That was so nice. I'm sorry, there's another illustration by Kevin. So here's Tegel Village, found in Hex 4416. Campaign map 1. It's a village of 230 able-bodied men, neutral alignment. Its main occupation is the market for the farms, mostly to the west, and some sea trade from further south. The following shopkeepers and notables must be keyed to one of the lettered buildings. And then there you go. You've got, let's see, you've got the mayor, organizer of the militia, priestess of the Temple of Thor, losing attendance to Sarthagas Temple on the Hill, Mordacity, Magula, churlish leader of the militia, Brenna Birgit, blunt, enterprising spear maiden, Halef Feck, contriving, prosperous merchant, Hasnovar, jovial bartender of the White Horse Sleigh, specializing in the white wassail drink, probability 25% of drunkenness, cumulative. With 2 M's, so you know it's important. Cumulative. Very cool, Odd. Althronica's boarding house offers quiet, decency, and low price. 15 silver per night. Order is kept by her sons, Shark and One Eye. Meals, 1 gold piece. Cash box is 50 gold, 23 silver, 14 copper. Quinta Demetria, one-eyed owner of Neptune's Trident, bores customers with stories of unlikely sea monsters. Cretin Nodcock, incredibly ugly owner of the Bark and Bite, providing unusual dinner entertainment. Marash R. Gushing, but wily monger. Oh, Marash R. Gushing, but wily monger. Sorry. And of course, here we get into some potential NPCs you might encounter in the game. Benevolent character module. Look at those stats. How many 5e players would accept those stats and actually play those characters? None. That is true. That is very true, Cuthbert. Yeah, I'm looking at this. I see a 17, 16, and 15. A few 14s. But yeah, I mean, so we have Sir Runic Rump the Paladin, mentioned before, the dim-witted owner of Tegel Manor. His stats are strength 15, intelligence 5, wisdom 7. He's well, okay. So for OD&D, he's a valid paladin. For AD&D, he's not. The following is a list of paintings and their subjects below. Their name is listed by their class, hit dice, armor class, hits to kill. The picture's effect upon the viewer is shown by pick. And yeah, they had some fun with these. Rank Rumpula, a vampire. Raps Red Axe, a doppelganger. Raw Ribby, a skeleton. Rigath, the rabble rouser, a specter. Raving Ridnat. It just kind of goes on like that. And as told, there are 100 of them. Now, as I said, this is not a heavily detailed module. Cretin Nodcock. Sort of name you expect from someone who lost a bar wager or who offended a genie. Jinn, excuse me. I'm reminded of an old joke. Guy sitting in a bar, dude walks in. He's got this like buff, like think Schwarzenegger in his prime body, walks in, but he's got a head the size of a baseball. Guy orders a beer, sits down next to him at the bar, and the guy's just kind of drinking, trying to mind his own business, and he just can't resist anymore. So he looks at the guy and he says, "Hey, look, I know I'm sorry, man. I don't mean to bother you." And he's like, No. It's about this, isn't it? Go ahead and ask. And he's like, Yeah. What happened? He goes, Well, I was in the Navy back in the war. My plane got shot down. So I bailed out and washed up on this deserted island. I was walking around on the beach looking for something to start a fire with, and I found a lamp. So I rubbed it, and this beautiful female genie comes out. And she says, "Thank you for freeing me from the lamp. I hereby grant you 3 wishes." And he was like, "Well, first, I want to get rescued from this island." And she said, "No problem." She snapped her fingers. 5 miles off the island, destroyer appears. And you can see they're just starting to put a launch down. And so she said, "What is your next wish?" And he said, "I want a big, muscular, fit body." She said, "No problem." And boom, here I am. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Charles Atlas, you know. And so he looks at her and smiles and he says, how about a little sex? And she said, I can't do that. That's not allowed. And he said, all right, well, how about a little head? She said, no problem. Take care, whelp. All right. So anyway, here we get to the rooms. And if we take a look at these rooms, there are no descriptions beyond just a single line. So at A1, the butler, Bertalin, the Balrog ghost, politely asked to take wraps, indignantly leaves through wall if refused. 3 moldering corpses by outside door. That's the kind of description we get in the module throughout. It is very sparse. I'm not going to go through each one. There are many, 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 many pages here. And you do get some in here like A7, creaky floor, gem-studded silver goblet hidden under chest full of rotting clothes, sighing heard only by elves, 1 to 3 roll, becomes normal breathing sound, 1 to 3 in 1 to 3 rounds. 1 to 3 rounds. And walls quiver, becomes loud panting, 1 to 3 rounds, and walls move out and in. 2 feet becomes a deafening breathing noise in 1 to 3 rounds, and walls move in and out 10 feet. Becomes a stunning -2 on saving throws noise in 1 to 3 rounds, and walls suffocate players in 1 to 8 rounds. The room will literally heavy breathe you to death. Trunk with poison, number 3 needle latch contains 1,080 copper, 10 silver, 2 gold, and a 580 gold piece opal necklace. Every other turn, a young girl will appear in a random corner of the room, scream, and quickly disappear. Dusty bed contains 520 copper and a silver dagger. So it just kind of goes on like this. Now, one thing I want to point out, this module requires you to read it, and I'm going to tell you why. So A13, let's just take A13 for example. 30 feet wide, 25 feet long, 30 feet high. There's a wand of cold behind a picture on the wall. Female voice faintly chants. Now, I'm assuming it doesn't faintly chant mottled worm, 15 hit dice, 56 hits to kill, armor class 6, 2 to 24 bite, nesting under bed. I'm assuming that's not what it chants. But the fact of the matter is under the bed, there just happens to be a mottled worm, which I should point out, a mottled worm is the aquatic version of a purple worm. Why is it in a dusty bedroom? Why is it hiding under the bed? There are a lot of these. I honestly just think, I feel like Bob Bledsaw just sat down and was just flipping through the monster manual, not even reading about the monsters, just coming up with stuff to stick in every room and filled every room. Have you guys ever seen, of course you have, Bardic Broadcasts, Hero Quest is the best game in the world. And he talks about, the best scenario to make is where you put a monster in every square. That's kind of what this is, because of the humidity. There you go for it. But here's the thing that gets me about the A13 mottled worm. That's not just like it's under M in the monster manual. M for mottled worm. I just grabbed one and put it under there. He had to have read the purple worm entry and said, nope, I'm putting a mottled worm in a dry, dusty old house. A mottled worm that is the size of the sandworms from Dune is just lying quietly under this bed. See, 14 is fairly reasonable for a haunted house. Laughter grows in intensity while in room. Animated broom in southeast corner. Zircon ring, 150 gold pieces. Has chamber with poison number 4 inside on shelf. Candle lights itself. Okay. That takes some fleshing out, but it's not so completely bonkers as, okay, because think of a bed. Think of a bed. Think of your bed. Think of a medieval bed. Look it up online, medieval bed. The maker, Shai Hulud, blessed in his passing, but a water, not just that, but a water variant. What is it? Flattened itself out and scooched itself into a ball? A bed of holding, yes. Oh, it's my mouse pointer. There it is. Yes, a bed of holding. So you get some interesting stuff. I mean, I just wonder if the folks at Judges Guild were so strapped that typing paper was an unreasonable expense. So rather than hit points, you get HTK. Because this is sparse. Old D&D really requires players to suspend their disbeliefs. That is true. That is very true, St. Cuthbert. Was any of this discussed in magazines at the time? I don't know if Dungeon or I don't know if Dragon or The Dragon or even the Strategic Review talked about this at all. I do know that Gary was very much a that makes sense, Iron Man. I mean, I figured Hits to Kill was they were basically trying to step outside of any heat that TSR might bring down. Imperial Ramblings, good to see you. How you feel about Wisconsin this weekend? I'm back on the bubble. I'm just like anything could happen. But anyway, yeah, so Hits to Kill definitely tracks, but Gary was very much on his high horse about only official TSR. Thank you very much. Gary was almost Jobsian in his view of TSR and quote unquote official things. You could use third party stuff. but the Blooms would very much legally go after people for things. So yeah, they clearly had to dance around stuff. So you get a lot of interesting stuff, like what is it, B10? No, I remember this one from the last time we played. Helmets not fastened, float to ceiling. I think that's kind of funny. Oh, someone was talking about corrections in this. There's a lot of typos in wherever this version came from. But one thing I will point out is I think the lines drawn through are wherever this scan originated. Now, I own a physical copy, which means I'm entitled to a digital copy for backup purposes. So I'm not going to go into where I got this from. But clearly, whoever put this there had a copy that had been played before, and all of these lines drawn through indicate that this stuff was overcome, or perhaps the DM didn't want to have these things in there. Severed hand drums fingers constantly on oak table. If touched, will grab whip on table. Now I'm down with that. A manual of puissance skill at arms hidden in rotting papers. I very much feel the same. I do not think I do not think last Saturday was anything. I mean, seeing DeBoer engaged from whistle to whistle was nice. Seeing him angry was nice. But you gotta show me a little bit more than a third-rate team that gets paid for the privilege of getting beaten up. Show me 60 minutes of consistent football against a P5 team. Then I'll start having an opinion. D10, giant spider. Yeah, again, I believe that wherever this was sourced from originally, before it was scanned, the dungeon master had played through it, and as these monsters were killed, he was drawing lines through. But I mean, it is, at whatever juncture this is, filled with typos, covered with moldy syrup. I mean, it's clear that they did not have a copy reader to go through this. Mind/flares, brain in a glass case, potion of healing, oil of etherealness. Damn, these typos. Censor, summoning hostile air elementally. Jug of alchemy and protecting force field lever. Now I like E10. I had forgotten about E10, but clammy black walls are poisonous to touch. Absolutely. Like E10 has something actually interesting in it. Cauldron of Caradwyn, sacred druid artifact, changes water to potion of regeneration, effect 10 days, once per week. A bolt of lightning for 3 of 18 of damage, snaps from huge jar to cauldron, any metal within 10 feet every other round. Don't be around when that happens. E3, what is a snake foam? I don't know what you're talking about, Kenny. E3 didn't say anything about snake foam. The F section is fairly small. 4 giant rats. There's a nice normal encounter. After all of this insanity, 4 giant rats is a lot of fun. Robert Phillips, what happens if you try to set the manor on fire? It is enchanted to not catch on fire. It says it in the description. It has an enchantment on it. It refers to it as a charm, whatever. That makes it fireproof, makes the wooden beams of it fireproof. So I would imagine, hey, Kennick, snake foam could be in there somewhere. Don't count yourself out. And there is some interesting stuff in here. Huge stand on the floor shrinks, coagulating into a central mass, a putrid aspect, which flows forward 4 feet. If it touches you, it increases your con +2 only once, follows chosen one. So there you go. You might think it's an ochre jelly, but it actually wants to raise your con. Horrible paintings on walls cause fear, saving throw at -3, and nausea, saving throw at -5 if you directly. Wood cane animates. Strikes at any brave enough to stay. Yeah, unfortunately, there's no there's no art in here other than the little thumbnail illustrations. Somebody's G7. Pair of saddlebags with a gold ring, 110 gold pieces, inscribed Doom Ring. When the Doom music kicks in. Rip and tear. A flask of spicy sweet liquid heals, 1 to 4 pips, is hidden under door and under a pile of rotting parchment. Something of Gandalf's. It's a Miravoir. Ryan Nowicki, it's going all right. IR, you've been playing Eve Frontier, multi-brand planning a raid for Sunday afternoon until the leader informed them they have to postpone because half the tribe had a D&D game every Sunday. Well, that just happens. D&D is better than computer games. Well, it depends on what D&D we're talking about, though. Iron chest full of skulls. Starving jackal pack. See, there's no more lines through anything at this point, so I think they didn't make it here. I think this DM's party split out on him. Now this is weird. I don't know. Like this scan is not OCR'd, which means it treats everything as images. So whatever, I don't want to edit that PDF, go away. Whatever the provenance of this was, note, they did not do Times New Roman for where it says potion of healing. Also, it's in italics. It must have been a much later creation. H5 is fun. What do we got? Blood red pennant on lance. Gruff voice yells Dastard-hearted coward Heinz and mossy couches hurled at leaving party. Okay. Oh, that's dark. H8 is dark. Overwhelming smell of alcohol, cradle and south wall rhythmically rocking to soft lullaby of woman's voice, occasional whimper. That's dark. That is dark. Now, I got to admit, I like H14 quite a bit. Gaudy, lavish decor, intoxicating aroma of roses, stunning silver service, 475 silver, with silver bowl worth 205, containing a black pudding. That's something I would do that. I would do that. Oh, that sounds neat, Ryan. Yeah, Eraserhead, baby. Doors of large bureau on north wall open and expel clothing, then slam shut, heaving sounds. We got the eye section. I don't know. I'm liking eye. Incense smoke, strange looking flower beds lined with poisonous silver and coral coins. Saving throw or neutralize poison within 12 turns. Humid beds of exotic plants. Steam conceals a giant crab. 2 werebores. Thick aroma of incense, giggling and whispers. Players occasionally feeling a brush of warmth on hand. Oh my. Odor of burning wax. On the wall hang 3 crosses. 33 candles ignite, then extinguish individually. Nice and spooky. Yes, I7 is creepy. Odor of exotic perfumes, sitar music, large brocade pillow floating 2 feet off ground is flying carpet. Any clapping sound here will cause 30 dancing girls and musicians to appear for a performance lasting 10 turns. Ceiling drips blood and velvet rug with huge feelers crawl slowly across floor. Ick. Ick. Yeah, I would say it's probably the Venn diagram overlap is probably pretty large. Wall inscriptions detail the Rump family history. Miniature red dragon in a carved chest with immense swarm of metallic blue flies. A keg of delicious gold wine heals 1 to 3 points per mug, but will age imbiber 10 to 60 years per mug after a 20 turn delay. Hey, this is great. You get 1 point, you get 2 points, you get 3 points. Oh, cool. I'll drink some more. 20 turns later, Bob just crumbles to dust. There's a crocodile, if you guys are interested. Is polymorphed centaur. So you can figure that out and bring him back. Have an ally, I guess. Let's get to the M section. It just kind of goes on like that. Apparition of an here in the East Wing. Apparition of an obese matron who screams, "Villain, sorcerer, 'tis thou's." hast slain my son. Yeah, we did get an illustration there in the M section. Doesn't relate to anything, but it is nice to see. Well, no, okay, M4. Banner on north wall, Brotherhood of the Skulls, green skull on cabinet, shrieks and floats into open cabinet with shots. Ah, I see you've seen the green shrieking skull. Yes, we did. To come out of the cabinet? No, it didn't cabinet shut. Okay, I don't know what a werewolf is, but I do know who Worf is. Voluptuous Maiden is werewolf. Captain, I must protest. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be werewolf. The oh goodness. So let's see what else do we got here? Woman's head in a crystal ball will answer questions once per week. Magic use probability 70% knowing. Will summon one rump of choice per day. And by the way, there's a deck of many things on the mantle. Just in case you wanted to just screw with your players. There's a deck of many things on the mantle. Deranged Librarian is permanently insane wizard. Level 14, 31 hits. Armor class 9. On very good terms with the wolf pack. Plot twist, it is exactly how it sounds. She turns into a Worf at the full moon. Captain, I must protest. We must open fire on the Dominion ships. Honey, you feeling okay, babe? Overcoming the Kardashians will not be as easy as it seems. Oh, okay, babe, we don't have to watch the Kardashians if you don't want to. But yes, there's the obese matron who screams at you. Pot simmering on low fire has variable effect on individuals. 1 increases height by 2 feet. 2 +1 dex. 3 minus or negative LS. Negative levels. I don't know. 4 is +1 Constitution. 5 is -1 charisma. 6 is +1 intelligence. 7 is +1 wisdom. 8 is +2 strength. Bedroom. Woman with strings of diamonds and sapphires wound into her black hair casts Gaius at the first through the door, then changes into a black arrow and flies through the ceiling. All missiles and spells directed her are absorbed by sparkling gold shields which vanish. Look, guys, a gazebo. Hey, I wonder if this is where the story of Eric the gazebo originated. All right, you see a gazebo. As badly written as this module is in places, I could see somebody playing this actually not knowing what a gazebo is. So the gazebo with a vampire vine, hermitage, cursing wraith, Mugs at intruders, and disheveled old man turns white and sinks through floor. Or hurls mugs. I thought just he mugs at intruders, like, you know, he makes faces. Hurls mugs at intruders, and disheveled old man turns white and sinks through floor. Black pudding. Garden grotto. Small black kitten turns to giant cat. 12 hit dice, 85 hits to kill. Armor class 5. 3 to 18 times 2 for claws, 4 to 24 bite. If frightened, will follow mercilessly. Merci lousely. Bombardier beetles in the court. And then we have the Wizard's Tower. The graveyard with the terrible tombstones. Are we really going to do all those? Here lies Retiana, rump stuck in her head, pulled back a stump. This is Rolf. His life was full till he tried to milk a troll. Rupture learned with great regrets. Beholders don't make good pets. Reckless rump, R.I.P., tried to dance with a chimera. Doesn't rhyme. Racy hitched his wagon to a dragon. Now he does no more bragging. Roger's gullet went awry while eating at the Balrog's eye. Razzle met his term, hacking at a purple worm. Roderick, quite a cager till he failed to pay a wager. Ramy wished he hadn't been born, hanging on a gargoyle's horn. Ravenbeard insulted a rock, showed no fear, broken egg, wound up here. Rook wound up on a fork, buried him with a belching orc. You're going to need a keg of holy water. Does it have a recommended level? It doesn't. It does not have a recommended level. This was back in the day. When I have played this, the dungeon master who ran this for us had us just send in first level characters. And the reason was OD&D, which again, this is written for OD&D, despite some touches of AD&D in it. OD&D didn't have, let's go back to town and train, let's rest for a while. It was just like, hey, you've got this much gold, you've got this much monster experience, your character levels up. So you could potentially go through here, survive a few encounters, and get a character leveled up. So I do wonder if the terrible tombstones were not at least a little inspired by the Haunted Mansion at Disney. Here is a map that details out the dungeon. Now we do get a little bit of detail here, at least at the start of the dungeon. Most giant rat holes are 3 feet in diameter and all have a 20% probability of blockage by a rock or cave in. Removing the rock usually requires a strength test. See Judges Guild J8, and digging will take 2 to 8 turns. Once down the hole, players will find that all of level 1 is rat tunnels 3 feet wide by 3 feet high. At best, 2 humanoid creatures can crawl abreast in these tunnels. Encumbered characters will be able to crawl 10 feet. Plate wearers 10 feet in 1 turn. Heavy footmen can manage 20 feet per turn, and light footmen 30 feet per turn. Because of the exertion, all encumbrance types must rest twice as much. Plate wearers, as well as encumbered characters, will find that they may get stuck making the turns, 16% probability. And if they do, they have a 16% probability per turn of going one way or the other. These characters will also find it impossible to turn around in one of the tunnels. Incidentally, only a dagger, hand axe, or mace can be used in the cramped space. And then there's 4 kinds of giant rats. Talks about them being foul places to visit, with piles of filth, rocks, linen shreds, table scraps, and a modest treasure trove to boot. However, the respective headquarters of each rival rodent faction will possess a higher grade of treasure, like gems or jewelry. Usually a good portion of the rats are out scavenging for food or shiny baubles. And then we get some descriptions that match up with some of the locations there. And then we have an actual dungeon level, level 2. And these are lettered rather than numbered. I will say these are good dungeon maps. Don't sleep on these maps, guys. And the dungeon is a little bit more dungeony. So, yeah, Samalama. These are classic maps. Very good details on these maps. And they're nice and clean. They're not all crammed together. You don't feel like, so many maps are so busy these days in terms of detail. It's like, well, I want to show the table that has the bloody head lying on it. I want that detail on them. And I'm like, look, just give me a rectangular room. Tell me in the text what's in there. The players aren't going to see it. I'm not going to put it out there for the players. I mean, I don't know. Does modern D&D do that? I honestly don't know. So I think what we're going to do, because we're actually coming up to the top of the hour here in about 10 minutes, I want to give these dungeons their proper due. We did kind of skim across the we did kind of skim over these the upper area, the manor itself proper. I do want to give the dungeons a proper deep dive. So that's something we can do next week, possibly Monday even. We don't have to wait till Thursday. But I would not hate to properly go through this. So I think that's what we're going to do, because it is getting a little late. We did start late tonight. Samalama says, the only thing I hate about old maps is all those one square. Well, that one square, you got to remember, that's 10 feet wide for most dungeons. The only dungeon I can think, the only AD&D module that doesn't have 10-foot wide hallways or 10-foot wide squares on the map, because it does have some 10-foot wide hallways, is Hidden Shrine of Temacon. Thank you. It was clean. I mean, I like the shirt, don't get me wrong, but I was like, should I wear it? I was like, clean. And it's the Eggcon shirt. Nice. So I put it on. Yeah, you've in a 10-foot wide hallway is it's 3. I was talking about. I was having this discussion on Twitter. It was a fairly nice discussion about grid maps, and people are like, no, it's realistically only in 5-foot squares makes more sense than 3. And I'm like, no, guys. What do I think is the best thing you could steal dungeons from? If you mean maps, that is correct, St. Cuthbert. It does have a deck of many things. And I Happen to have a complete 148 right here with the deck in it. Yes. Anyway, good places to lift maps, even if you're not going to run the adventures: G1, G2, and G3. G2 is 2 levels of nothing but natural caves. I think you'll get a big kick out of G2. The B2, Keep on the Borderlands, it's a nice mix of dungeon hallways, and there are natural caves in it. Of course I do. I'm glad I bought that when I did, because holy crap, did those prices skyrocket on a dumped in the in that. So yeah, we will definitely go through the dungeon at a little bit less brisk of a pace. In Search of the Unknown has great maps of both. Yes, it does. And one thing I can point out is that if you ever wanted to see In Search of the Unknown in 3D, I don't mean in 3D like a model. You can zoom around. Go to any convention near you where Paul Stormberg is going to be. Odds are he will bring the 15 millimeter scale In Search of the Unknown dungeon map that I did the doors and a few fixtures for. There's an Easter egg in it, by the way. There's an Easter egg, but you have to look carefully. I'm not going to tell you where it's at. I'm not going to tell you what it is. You're going to have to look very carefully and pay close attention. When was the last time? I have never run Tegel Manor. Praxis, I have not. I have played in it a few times, but this one I have never run. I had a friend who actually ran this for us. We had a few encounters in it in a game at Halloween, and then we did another one where it was it was just hanging out over at his house kind of thing. Yes, I know all about it, Kennick. I've had Paul on the show to talk about it extensively. Mondays are great days for Tegel. Yeah, I mean, I think Monday. I don't think we're going to wait till Thursday. I think we're going to jump right in. Monday we'll probably do a 2-hour show. I am busy during the day on Monday, but I think by the afternoon, by showtime, I should be free. If it's not looking like it's going to happen, we'll push till Thursday. But again, I want to give this dungeon its due. I really do. Because the house is wonky, but the dungeon is actually quite nice. I'm more willing to accept weirdness underground for some reason than I am just like in a house, you know. But we'll get to it when we get to it. Now, if you're curious about this particular module, again, this is the, where did I put it? Put it back over here. Anyway, the orange booklet beige maps one that came in a poly bag, that's kind of unobtainium, but you can get this print on demand, because can I do this without destroying anything or killing myself? Let's see. Yeah, I have a couple of other versions of it here. This is a print-on-demand copy, and it's basically the same. They didn't go bonkers with any corrections or updates. And then there's an all-in-one booklet of it, which I think, yeah, the mapping page is in the middle. Is that the 1980 or the 77? This one, this is the 1980. The one that I showed at the beginning of the stream is the 77, and this is a duplicate of the 1980. And I was wrong, by the way. This is not print on demand. This is a Goodman Games. Goodman actually sold that for a while. I put that there for now. Yes. No. Yes. Yeah, they over the past like 10, 15 years, there has been a massive dump of City State of the Invincible, Overlord, the Wilder Lands, Tegel Manor, all that stuff. So it's not, it's this is not like a tournament version of Ghost Tower of Inverness or Lost Sojkonth or anything like that. This is actually, you can go out and get this stuff. So don't feel like, oh, well, Bill's showing us more stuff we can't have. In fact, let's do the needful and let's have a quick gander here. Bear with me for just a moment. Let's go over here. But if you go on Drive Through RPG, screen, window. There's a ton of Frog God games, 5e and Swords and Wizardry, Tegel Manor. Just piles of it. Now, I don't know why these other items show up. All I can think is that Tegel Manor is mentioned in the review or as an inspiration for it. But yes, you can absolutely get Tegel Manor for 5th edition for Swords and Wizardry today. You can get the deed for Tegel Manor. And it's not terribly expensive. That's good to know, Robert. So anyway, that's where we'll leave it off for tonight, guys. Tomorrow night, we're going to be playing Gamma World. That's going to be a lot of fun. Should have the whole crew in the house. We're going to slice them, dice them, burn them down with beams, irradiate them, and have them munched by mutants. It's going to be a ton of fun. So be here tomorrow for Gamma World at 9 o'clock, not at 9:30. Saturday, this coming Saturday, I will be live streaming, and it will be with, of course, Dungeon Minister and Yang Yan Zhao and it will be the three of us as the Nerd Council of Doom, and we're gonna see if we can talk maybe a little bit about a safety valve, stuff that we like to do to escape the problems of the world at large, because there's been a lot of that going on, and I don't really want to say anything else about it because I come here and there to talk about fun stuff. All right. Thank you for hanging out, everybody. It was good to see you all. Sorry again for the late start tonight. One thing I'm going to tell you, though, in all my dalliances in this module, I don't know if we ever encountered an owl bear. So with that said, here's one that I'll sick on you guys. Peace. Good night. Love you all.
Have you seen my owl bear? Here's to all the weirdos everywhere in the woods and in the air. Have you seen my owl bear? Should I shave off all my hair? Bobs are all around. Some live in tunnels underground. Some are fat, some are rich, some are sleeping in a ditch. Can you ride a crooked horse without a saddle way off course? Naked as a toad all the way to Smoky Joe's. Have you seen the little creep driving fast in his little green Jeep? He smells like fish and brandy, but his rotten teeth look dandy. Take me to the show, I don't care if fast or slow. From action flicks to dancing dicks, just take me to the show.